We're up to Sadi Amid Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. Tana Rabban. Ain't Metzion Paris from Eretz Yisrael. You're not allowed to take out Paris from Eretz Yisrael. We want the Chacham Masaka. We don't want to hurt the economy in Eretz Yisrael. This talks about things that are needed for staples, everyday life. I mean, it's okay if you send out, what should we call that? What's a treat? Cranberries. I don't know. Dates might be like that, but like we're going to see yayin, shemen, wheat, the staples of everyday life. Like the Gemara says, like wine, oil, and flour. Wine was a necessity. That's what they drank for every meal. He said it's okay for wine because even though it's good to eat it, but it causes alcoholism. So
Tifla means alcohol?
Tifla means tiflis, foolishness. Yeah. You don't want people to act. It means people act foolish. You don't want people to drink too much wine. I don't think they had a concept of alcoholism per se. I was stretching it a little. Tifla means tiflis, means foolishness, means acting foolish. So we don't want people to drink too much wine and act silly.
So what are you supposed to drink?
He's saying like you don't want to make a rule that you can't take it out of its show because it's so necessary. People should drink in moderation. Because we don't need to have so much wine on hand that people, instead of taking a drink of water, they'll just say, "Oh, there's wine in the fridge. Might as well take another cup." Yeah. Just like you can't take out of Eretz Yisrael, you also can't take out to Syria. Syria is controversial. David HaMelech conquered Syria, so it's a question of whether Sheba the Yachid, it was conquered by a Yachid on the initiative of Melech. Is that also considered part of Eretz Yisrael? This Gemara is saying it's not considered part of Eretz Yisrael. Rebbe Mater mehifrachia lehifrachia. These are two cities that were right next to each other by the border. So we're not misaken that you can't take out from these two close cities, twin cities. One is not allowed to buy, to get into a business of buying these staples and then reselling them at a profit. The farmers should sell them by themselves in order that the prices shouldn't go up. He was mishtaker on wine and with oil. Who was it? Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira. Because he said that yayin is like we said, we don't want to have too much yayin, so it's okay if people make profit. There's a lot of oil. It was a very rich in oil area, so therefore there was no problem with people engaging in schayr on it because they had more than they needed anyway. One is not, we're talking about in general the rule that you're not allowed to take things out of Eretz Yisrael and you're not allowed to price gouge. Well, you're not allowed not to price gouge. You can't do things that will cause the price of staples in Eretz Yisrael to rise. So we're 6 lines down on Tzadi Aleph Amra. You can't profit double on eggs. Eggs are something that are not considered a necessity. They were not considered a necessity. Mari bar Mary, one says that the rule is you can't double the price. You can't sell it for double the price. So it's not like the staples that you can't resell them at a profit, but it's just that you can't double the price. You can't go wild. The other one says that eggs, unlike let's say flour and oil and wine, that you're not allowed to sell even to a storekeeper. Okay, there's not allowed to be any commerce in it. You have to go straight to the farm and buy it. But an egg, you could sell it to one person and then he could sell it. But you can't sell it to a middleman who then resells it, a wholesaler who sells it to a storekeeper. Tanarabon, Masrian al pragmatio. They can be Masrian, as it means to be blow the shaper, but it means to make a taina. Al pragmatio, if there's a recession, pragmatio means that people are unable to sell their merchandise, what they produce. Vafilu b'Shabbos, you can even daven for this on Shabbos. Amr clay pishton bevavel b'yayin v'shem Eretz Yisrael. For example, like in Bava was known for their linen clothing. So if they're unable, if there's a recession, they're unable to sell their linen clothing, or yayin and shemen Eretz Yisrael, they would make money by selling yayin and shemen. Amr of Yosef, who dissolve become asar b'shisa. That which we are mispalel for decline in the economy is only when the things that the merchandise that people sell went down from 10 to 6. So it went down from, it's only 60% of the original price. It's going to make it hard for people to earn a living. You can't leave from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz when there's a famine, and therefore the price of, I think, wheat generally went up for where it costs 2 sasayim, you get 2 saw for 1 cell, which is a high price. As we're going to see later on, a normal price is 4 saw for a seller. Amr of Shimon, this is only when you can't find to buy. But if they are available to be found, and as we'll see, there is enough money, people generally have money, just that the price of food has gone up. I feel even if it's costing a seller just for 1 saw, as long as you have, it's affordable, as long as people have money, they can't say I have $1 million in the bank, but the price of bread went up from $1 to $2, I'm going to leave. Elimelech was the father of Machlin and Killian. Machlin and Killian were married to Rus and Arpas. So they were Gedolei Hadar Hayu, Parnasei Hadar Hayu. They were the Talmidei Chachamim and the wealthy people of the Dar. Why did they get this einish? They left Eretz Yisrael and they all died. Because they left Eretz Yisrael. That when Naomi came back with Rus, the whole city said, they all got excited, and they said, Hazois Nami, is this Nami? My Hazois Nami. What does it mean, is this Nami? My also. They said, how could she come back? They were surprised, because generally someone who leaves Eretz Yisrael, they get an einish, and it was a surprise that they made it back. So this is a raya that one should not leave Eretz Yisrael because of a famine. It's interesting. I saw today that there's double the amount of people left Eretz Yisrael in the last year than normally do. 50,000. I'm sure it was not from. It was moved out of Eretz Yisrael. Usually it's like 25,000. This year was 50,000. There's always, you go to Los Angeles, there's a lot of Israelis, different places. So because of the situation, a lot of people left.
Even before Naomi, Avram left Eretz Yisrael. Yitzchak left.
He was told to, they were instructed to do. Yitzchak did not leave.
Right.
Yeah, but Avram was instructed to lech lecha. If the Bereshit tells you, then obviously you got to do it. They went because of a rav.
Right, because of the rav. Right.
We're saying if there's enough of a rav, you can go. By Stois, there wasn't a sufficient rav. Who, Avram?
Yeah.
I mean, Yaakov didn't leave. Anyways, Avram was directly told to leave.
But he can leave at a different time because he left on the trial and left the Plishtim. Not Plishtim, he left them.
The first time was by Lech Lecha, I think.
Right.
And he left the second time. I don't know. Listen, my son is similar Laban, but doesn't mean we could ask Kasha on it. Why did he leave because of a Rav? So maybe it so wasn't given to him yet. Right? There was Asa was making fun of Yitzchak. You're never going to get this. But Amar of Yitzchak, Oisa Hayom Shabbos Rus Hamayavi al Eretz Yisrael. The day that Rus arrived in Eretz Yisrael, when she came back with Naomi, Mesa Ishta Shel Bayas, the wife of Bayas, who she was eventually going to marry, died. Before a man dies, the replacement, the person who's going to take over his house, is already there. She would say Baruch Shalom prepares the refuah before the makkah. So Baya Rus came to Eretz Yisrael. She needed a place for herself, so it was already prepared that Bayaz was going to be able to marry her. Amarav Barafunu, Amarav. Itzvan, Ivtzan ze Bayaz. Ivtzan is Bayaz. It's the same name, the same person. My Kamashlan, what is this telling you? Hidach Rabba Barafuna, the Amarav Barafuna, Amarav, Meyav Esim Mishtois, Asa Bayaz Labanav. Bayaz made 120 meals for his sons. So this pasuk is in Shoftim. It's talking about Ivtzan, and it says he had 30 sons and 30 daughters. Shalach hachutza, his 30 daughters he sent to marry sons from other places. Ushloishim banos hevi lebanav menachotz, and he brought in 30 daughters for 30 women for his sons. Vayishpat es Yisrael sheva shanim. He was a shofet on the Yidden for 7 years. B'chol achatz va'achas also shnei mishtais. Achas beis avid va'achar beis chamav. He made 2 meals, one like an afruf and one a sheva brachas. So one was in the half-father's house. I guess that was the one for the afruf. The one for the beis chamav was after the marriage. In all of them, he didn't invite Manoach. Manoach was I think the father of Shimshon. Amar Kudna Akara b'mai parali, said that Manoach was married for a long time and he didn't have any children. Why should I invite him? He's not going to be able to pay me back. So he's not going to be able to invite me to his thing. He has no children. The Mefarshim explained it means to say that it would make him feel bad. If you invite him to all these simchas, he's going to feel more that he's missing having a child. B'kulan meisu b'chayev. And all 60 of these sons and daughters died during Ivtzan's lifetime. What's the point of having 60 children? Better to have one who's even better than all 60. And this is referring to Bayaz, who was also Ivtzan. That's the point, that this pasuk must have been talking about Bayaz, because Bayaz eventually had a grandson. He had Ovid, who was the father. Ovid was his grandson, who was the father of Yishai, who was the father of David. So this son, who eventually came from him, David was worth more than all 60 other children that died from the previous wife.
So he was punished for not inviting Manoach?
It doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. It just bring the source of this, the source of how we know that he was Ivtzan. The source of this aphorism that we say better to have one child who something comes of him, because he ended up having a son who basically from him came the Malchus of Yisrael.
It's actually a very harsh punishment to lose.
I didn't think it was. I don't know if it was a punishment. I don't know. It's not really clear. Amarav Chanan Barav, Amarav. Elimelech was the father of Machlin and Killian. The Salmon, who was the father of Bayaz. Uploini Almaini, that was the other Goyal who declined to marry Rus. Ba'avi Nami, and the father of Nami, Kulu b'nei Nachshon ben Aminadav. They were all the children of Nachshon ben Aminadav. So that means Naomi's father was her husband Elimelech's brother. So she was a niece. My Kamashma, why are we telling me this? Elimelech, even though he had the schus that he was the son of Nachshon ben Aminadav, Sheva Yehuda, it didn't help him because he left Eretz Yisrael. This is a good thing if you ever go have trivia questions. So this is the answer to a lot of trivia questions. So the mother of Avram, Terach's wife, was Amsaloi bas Karnavai. Ema de Haman, Amsaloi bas Urvasi. The wife of Haman, Amsaloi bas Urvasi. Even though, doesn't it say in the Megillah a different name for her? Haman's wife, Ashes Haman? Zeresh, right. I guess you had two names. The Simonech, Tome, Tar. In order to remember which is which, the wife of Haman, this is the mother of Haman, not the wife of Haman, right? Yeah. So Amsaloi Bas Urvasi, her name was Bas Urvasi, or Eiriv. Urvasi sounds like an Eiriv, a raven. A raven is a non-kosher bird. But Avram was called Bas, the mother of Avram, was Amsaloi Bas Karnavai. Karnavai refers to a sheep, which is kosher. So Avram is kosher and Haman is not kosher. Eme de David Nitzvas Bas Adoel Shma, the name that was her name. Eme de Shimshon Slafafunis, her name was Slafafunis. Va'achse Nashim, and Shimshon's sister was Nashim. Why are we telling us the names of all of these women? The Chuvas Aminim. The Minim are going to say, how come the Psukim say all the names of all the fathers? It says Terach, and it says Shimshon's father, and it says all the fathers. It doesn't say any mothers. So therefore, the Gemara is telling you what the names of the mothers are, so you'll be able to answer them. We know what the names are. It just wasn't necessary to share it. You're trying to say that it's the Chumash is all a fable. It's all made up. Why is it good? And the proof for the fact that we doesn't have the name of the woman. Our women, we have the names of the women also. It's not to answer the feminists who say, how come the women are not included? Because then they'll still be angry. Say, why weren't they mentioned in the Chumash? Or do you have to have a Gemara for it? The answer for that is that you're never going to answer them. If someone wants to ask a question, no matter what answer you give, they're not going to be happy. Avram Avinu, after we all know he smashed his father Terach's idols, he was put in prison for 10 years. 3 years in Kusa and 7 years in Kardoi. From Dimi and Ardoya, Masni, he says it was Sheva Bekusa, 7 in Kusa and 3 years in Kardoi. Amr of Chizda, Ivra Zeira de Kusa, Zehu Ur Kazdim. This place, Ivra Zeira of Kusa, that's Ur Kazdim. It's mentioned in the Pasuk. The day that Avram Avinu died, Amdu Kol Gedoli Umas Ha'olam B'Shura. They all lined up for Amru Oilay La'olam Sha'avad Manhigai. Gewalt on the world that lost its leader. Avram was considered a world leader. But Oilay L'Svina Sha'avad Kavernita. And the Gewalt on the ship that's lost its captain. Avram was considered everyone looked up to him. B'Misnasa L'Chol Roish. The Rebbe Shalom points who's going to be the leaders. Amr Chanan Barava, Amar Rav, Afilu Reish Gargusa. Even the head of the person who's in charge of deciding the irrigation, the lowest appointed position, the Rebbe Shalom is Lev Malachim B'Yad Hashem. Rebbe Shalom is in charge. He gets involved in who gets every position of authority. Even that the Rebbe Shalom sets it up. Amr Chia Barav and Amr Yeshua ben Karcha. Chas v'sham shafilu matzah suben lo yatsu. He says, even if a person can find, if you can't leave Eretz Yisrael because the prices have gone up, even if you can find the lowest type of wheat, you shouldn't go out. But I'm sorry, this is talking about Elimelech, Machlon, and Kilyan. that they wouldn't have left had they been able to find any kind of food. They never would have gone. But the problem was there was mamish nothing left. Maybe that's the answer to Avraham. There's mamish, there's nothing to buy. Doesn't make a difference how much money you have. If there's nothing's growing. So why were they punished if there's nothing? If they left, there was nothing to eat. Because they didn't daven for their dar. With your calling out, I will save. The Maharsha says, "I'll save those who are gathered to you." So it's the Gadol Hadar's responsibility to be inspired for the dar. Amar Rabbi Barachana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, L'shanol emois bezoil uperis biyayk. That's well, this we're talking about the Inal Levi Yisrael. That's where that we say that there's limits of how much it costs, how much the price has gone up. That's if people are able to get money easily. I mean, they have jobs, but the payers have gone up in price. If it's difficult to find money, it's a recession. Even if the prices are very cheap, so recession is worse than a rise in the prices than inflation. If you have a recession, so this is what the Federal Reserve holds. They hold it. You have to keep away the recession, even though it's going to cause inflation. Because a recession, if people are not able to have jobs, they're not going to be able to buy anything, not just their food. It's very difficult. Now, Rabbi Yochanan, now here Nakad, I saw one time, Kaiman Arba Son Besela, that you were able to buy food for very cheap. It was 4 saw for just 1 sela, which is a normal price. So many people whose bellies were bloated from malnutrition on the east in Tveria from the fact that they had no money because of the recession. I saw Nahirna Chadle have a miskrin parallel le menadach karsa. People were unwilling to work on the east side of the city because of Mereich Pisa Maisen. They were so hungry that they would die from the smell of the baking bread. There was so little food that they couldn't even tolerate to be in the place where they baked bread because it was so excruciating. It caused them so much pain. But Rabbi Yochanan, Nahir Nachad have a Botza Yenuka Charuva. This is talking about a different topic altogether, about how good things used to be. We're talking about times of famine. He's talking about how prior to the famine, how good it was. There was a child would pick up a carob, have a nugget, the honey from the date would flow down both of his arms. It was so rich. And have a notel urva bisra, a raven took a piece of meat, and there was so much oil coming out of the meat, it was so fat, it would fall out from the top of the wall up to the ground, a stream of fat. Have a metalin talia, the talyasa beshuka. A boy and a girl would play together in the marketplace, kvar shis esrei, kvar shev esrei, when they were 16 and 17 years old. They wouldn't be chayta because people had a higher, they were more kaddish, and therefore there was no kshash of chait because they were so much better. Have a maram be midrasha, the moide lahain nafel bihadain, masachas lahain delay de lahain. Forgot what this is. Where is this? The moide lahain la'odei kechavim. Oh, says those, they said in the base measures, those who are moide, who give in, who concede anything to the oivdei kechavim and say that you're right on something, nafel bihadain, you're going to fall into their hands. Or the misrachat ziluyin, and those who come and they listen, they give some credence to the wisdom of Avdei Kechavim. They're going to take over whatever those people have. the sons of Elimelech were called Machlon and Kilion. They were also called Yoish V'Sar. Rav Shmuel Charam and Machlon and Kilion Shimon V'Lama Nikra Shimon Yoish. Their names are really Machlon and Kilion, but they were called Yoish and Saraf. Yoish and Yishayishim and Agula. Yoish because they gave up on their being saved from the famine. Saraf Shenischayvu Shreit for Lamakum. And Saraf is because they should have davened for their dar and they didn't do so. So therefore they were Mechoyev Misa. That was really the names. Because they made themselves chulin by going out of Eretz. Again, because they didn't daven. Tanya, command the Amar Machlon v'Kilion Shmon. To prove to you that Machlon and Kilion was really the names, and Yoish and Nayaf were the names that they were given. The Tanya, Maidach se v'Yoikim v'Anshe Kuzva v'Yoish v'Saraf. Asher ba'alu l'moyav, v'yoshvei lechem. These people. So Yoikim is one person. The Gemara will go through the pasuk one piece by piece. V'anshe koziva, v'yoyash, v'saraf, asher ba'alu l'moyav, v'yoshvu lechem. Advar matikim, and these are old words. The Yoikim ze Yeshua. That's referring to Yeshua. Shehikim shvua la'anshe given, that he made a shvua to the anshe given, that they came and said that they wanted to make a treaty to you. They were disguised Bnei Eretz Yisrael, that they didn't want to be attacked. So once he promised them, he didn't destroy them. Anshe Kuziva, Elu Anshe Given. These are the people who Kuziva means Kazav. They lied. Shekazav be Yeshua. That they lied to Yeshua. B'Yayish v'Sarf Elu Machlon v'Kilion. That's Machlon v'Kilion. Lama Nikra Shmon Yayish v'Sarf Yayish and Shashim and Agula Sarf and Shchayvu Shrei for Lamakom. Like we said before. Asher Ba'alu Lamayev. They married Machlon and Kilion married women from Mayav. That's referring to Rus. She came back and she attached herself to Bias, and she had from him sons that became Malchus Yehuda. These are the things that the Baruch Shalom said. David Avdi this is all from the Baruch Shalom, who had this. The Atik Yaimin, mean the Baruch Shalom is called the one from the olden days. The Baruch Shalom had this all in mind from the beginning, that he Matsasi David, and it says by the daughters of light. That this is all a plan that Baruch Shalom had to have Mayav and Amin come out from light and his daughters, and eventually from Mayav was going to come out Malchus Beis David. Gemara continues, Hema hayotzrim v'yoshvei netayim. These are the ones who create, and they sit by the trees, the Gedera, and by the fences. Im hamelech v'malachah, and the king with his malchus v'yashvu sham, and they sit there. Hema hayotzrim elu b'nei Yoinadav ben Rechav. These are the sons of Yoinadav ben Rechav. Shenatzu shuas avin, that they fulfilled the shvuah of their fathers. That what did they do? So they were invited to come and drink wine and to build houses, but they said, we're not going to do that because we know that there's a destruction of the Beis Hamikdash coming. So they followed their father's instruction. Yoshmi in the times that Shloima is referring to Shloima Shadaim Latia B'Mulchusay. He's like a grown tree that it grows strong. The Gedera Zeus and Hedron Shagadu Pritasen Shal Yisrael. So Hedron is called Geder because they make the Gedarim the rules that keep us away from Aver. Imam Melech B'Mlachta Yashvu Sham Zerus Hamaviyah. This is Rosh Sherah Sama Malchus Shloima Ben Benoy Shel Ben Beno. She saw the Malchus Shloima, who was her grandson. Yishai was her grandson. Ovid, her son was Ovid, and then he had Yishai. Yishai had David, and David had Shloima, and she lived to see Shloima become the king. Shloima made a king, a seat for the Eim HaMelech, and V'amar Rabbi Le'ima Shel Malchus. That's referring to Rus, who was the Ima. Without this is a problem, something that causes problems with Tvua, without insects eating it up. Without it rotting. neyoshan shekala. Maybe the Yidden will be waiting for the new, because of the old that was. It says v'chaltem yoshan noshan yoshan ne chodesh ne yoshan yoshan ne chodesh shesiu. Maybe the reason why they're taking out the old is because it got ruined. It was eaten up by insect. Tamaloimer ad ba tfuasa ad shetave tfua ma'alya till better tfua comes. So it's not. But the chash was that it was fully eaten up by insects. There's nothing left. Tanya, which is like the shot that it's referring to insects. Tanya goes to the Risheshis. B'chaltem in atfua yoshan yachal yisrael b'tzap l'chaz b'nei yoshan shera that it got bad. Tamala ad ba tfuasa ad shetave tfua ma'alya until better tfua should come. So that's meaning that it wasn't fully destroyed. Turn around. B'chaltem yoshan noish malamed shechol hamiyushim mechaveroi whatever's older than it, then the next thing haviyaf mechaver is better. Maybe it's only things that are normally aged, like wine, for example, or wheat. How do we know that in Eretz Yisrael, old things, even all fruit is better? They had full storehouses and they were just stocked there. Things were so good that they didn't have room for the new crops. Everything old is better. Except for dates and beer and fried fish. Okay, stop over here.